Hi you guys. Alright, so thanks for tuning into a freaking another video. I'm literally covering communication standards, and you guys like bear with me. I'm like trying to like level up my freaking heart, so I'm gonna like kind of like try to like move it a tad bit throughout. Like you know when you look in the mirror and then like your entire freaking just flow, just it's like perfect, it's like fine, and then when you freaking look in the camera, it's like your hat's freaking like I was like all the way to like the freaking right a few minutes ago, and then it just like when I tried to move it, it just didn't look centered, and then I'm like trying to like freaking do this, and I'm like I want this to be like I don't know like that looks like freaking like perfect, like it looks like leveled, and then once I let it go, it's like I don't know, like do I need to like literally like bend a bit to like get it to like fit the shape, and then if I do that, will it be like that though? All right, I'm just gonna leave it, but. So I was talking to my friend, the one who inspired the freaking custodial non-custodial video, and she was like, "I freaking love the video. I love the freaking insight, but I feel like it would be a great topic to touch base upon communication standards within a relationship and cover the parameters of after you separate from your partner, while working with your partner, the standards for setting the communication flow for working to raise your child with a partner. That way, you kind of set the basis for how you will handle everything. And the overall planning process includes not just you and your say, but the say of your partner also. That way, you can create the best plan for your children, the best plan for you and your partner moving forward. You can keep the freaking sense of that connection that you two overall shared, and then in doing so you kind of just create a great conversation flow where you two are kind of open to each other's opinions. You kind of just work to create like a shared mindset for a lot of things as so you shared prior. But you guys, I literally had like a lot of fun like making this section, and I have a brief little story time to like add in here. I had an assignment like a few freaking weeks ago, and I was like, I've been covering. So we've been working on conflict resolutions in the workplace, as well as cultural acceptance, while applying like communication standards for conflict resolution also. So I was like, gonna have to add in like my freaking paper that I wrote, which includes a freaking story. It was literally like creating a freaking scenario and a breakdown that pertained towards conflict resolution in the end and the communication standards used throughout. So it's like those are going hand in hand with the communication breakdown video with a guided breakdown that pertains towards something outside of me, like giving like a brief overview. Instead, you'll get like an entire story to explain like communication standards and the aspects that literally go towards assessing a situation from an outside view as a mediator. And in the cultural presentation, I'll literally be giving you guys a breakdown of cultural aspects that were to be incorporated within the workplace to improve communication standards for those who fall within the parameters of different cultural beliefs, different cultural stances, and the ideal, work to create a unified workforce where everybody is driven to kind of represent the company over representing their own views while working for the company. Alright, so it's gonna be another easy one where I literally get to like just read through everything, which is my freaking favorite. It's kind of like having like a literal freaking script to like read through. I freaking love that. Alright, so I'm going to be going through communication styles, and in doing so, I'm going to touch base lightly upon like the top 5 communication styles that most people use, and then the following section after is going to cover the like pros and cons of some of the top used overall, like over the top 5. I think there are like the top 3 most used communication styles, or should I say like top 2, and then one's good, one's bad, the pros and the cons, and then also the universal communication styles to be incorporated within your typical flow. And then I think I have like a tab or yeah, there are oh yeah, and then there are the four horsemen of communication also, and that's an entire freaking breakdown within itself. And I was like, it's pretty freaking interesting. Okay, so one of the major freaking styles of communication that literally like throws us all through a loop whenever we are communicating with someone, and it literally always has to be called out. That way you can literally let someone know that they're like literally pushing your buttons. Is the aggressive style. This style is characterized by dominating conversations, interrupting others, and talking over them. Aggressive communicators often prioritize their own opinions over others, so in doing so, you're kind of extremely defensive when you don't really have to be. You kind of are more towards the, what I'm saying and how I feel over what the other person is proposing to you, over what the other person is stating, and it literally just creates this like awkward flow where it's like, can I say something to you about how I feel about this situation, how we can find a solution, and then the other person's kind of like super defensive, and it's just like I don't even want to hear it. You're gonna need to listen to like my opinion again and how I feel about it. And then it's like, but if you're telling me your opinion and how you feel about something, but there's no solution within that, the only solution is you wanting your mindset to be acknowledged. You kind of like get to that point where you're like, I'll acknowledge that you have your mindset, but you have to acknowledge that I have my own mindset also. We have to find a common freaking ground within the freaking breakdown. Then in doing so, it literally just like it creates a freaking horrible like feeling, and then 9 times out of 10 you have to walk away. When you walk away, it's like, am I gonna be mad? Am I gonna be sad? Am I gonna be freaking anxious? You don't walk away with like a great feeling after. You kind of walk away feeling as though you weren't able to truly get the other person to focus upon what you wanted them to understand, and instead they kind of walk away with that freaking, I preserved my own mindset. But in preserving your own mindset, were you open to what the other person proposed to you, and were you able to find a solution based off of what the other person brought to the table? And then it's like you brought a closed-minded view to the table while somebody else brought an open-minded view where they were expecting you to give them insight. And it's one of the most tedious ones of all. Assertive communication styles. This style is considered a good balance between passive and aggressive communication. Assertive communicators are direct and honest, but also calm and respectful. So this is kind of the more reserved communication style where you're kind of in the midst. You're not really like offensive, where you're literally like trying to like jump into the flow and like literally like go for the other person, and you're not like, aggressive, where you're literally like, it's my stance or no other stance. You're kind of more open towards the mindsets of the other, and you kind of approach everything with like a grain of salt. You're like, calm throughout the conversation, and you are respectful of the other person's mindset. That way you can work towards finding solutions and creating a common grounded area where you guys are open to each other's opinions and ready to really just understand how the other person may feel and how you can better a situation based off of both of your views. The passive approach, which is a very common one where we always literally reference towards somebody being like passively aggressive, and or for others that are like passively reserved, it's like you're extremely like passive. You kind of just approach situations. I'm trying to like fit the freaking like breakdown into it, but it starts with this style, so I'll literally just have to like jump back over to that instead. This style is characterized by avoiding expressing personal opinions, feelings, or needs. Passive communicators often prioritize the needs of others over their own. And so, in being a passive communicator, you typically will put the freaking needs of the other person within the communication over your own. So you're kind of more so while having a conversation with somebody that's more aggressive, you'll kind of just like literally be just go like, yeah, of course, your view is right, and you kind of let them like step all over your freaking stance, how your opinion, and your approach method that you would have proposed. So rather than being assertive, where you're kind of, more like, I'll listen to your opinion and then I'll also state my own opinion. You're kind of more so as though you'll listen to the other's opinion and then you'll just accept their opinion and then set it as a basis that you'll be working with, rather than working towards incorporating what you are actually thinking outside of the acceptance level and what you were thinking prior into the planning phase. That way you can work towards finding a common ground solution where you're combining the mindsets of two separate other individuals or whatever parties are involved within the situation to create a solution that will benefit everyone, but also have the freaking added components where you each can find what is missing in each planning method and then combine them all together to create this freaking plan that is set towards 9 times out of 10, if you can create a perfect plan, you can literally find something that relates to it that is like something that's literally on the freaking books already. And then in doing so, you kind of get to see how like combining your mindsets and covering every freaking aspect creates a plan that is something that has already been set in stone. And it's like, it's amazing because, you know, you get to see how you had this component, this person had this component, this person had this component. You like put them all together and you created this freaking guided freaking plan for literally how we handle situations on a daily day-to-day corporate level relationship basis like throughout the freaking world. And it's truly amazing in itself. So always set yourself to be more assertive, set yourself to be more direct, more honest, more calm throughout conversations. Take everything with a grain of salt. Be respectful and always be mindful that your opinion does matter and it can help find common solutions. And if it's like your opinion is something that's extremely off, be open to the mindsets of others so that you can truly understand why your opinion may be a bit like, you know, too out there, why it goes against, you know, the standards of ethical freaking stances, and why it may go against, you know, cultural standards, why it may be influenced by racial biases, or why it may be viewed as something that's freaking, let's see, lacking and freaking, let's see, awareness of the times. You know, that's always great to do research when taking a stance upon anything. And in doing, you know, videos like these, working on freaking coursework for my freaking classes, and so many more other freaking things that call for me to actually do research, I learned to literally broaden my freaking view and to oftentimes double check things. Like if I'm like, you know, I think I freaking know this freaking like phrase, if I think I know this freaking like word that's in another freaking language, if I think I freaking know this like term, this breakdown, this freaking like plan, that's freaking law, it's always great for me to literally just look back on it and to actually double check and make sure that, you know, the information that I have is to the T and that it matches what I think it's supposed to stand for. That way you don't present the wrong information, and that way you can gain more insight towards the subject that you are proposing. Now the next one is the passive aggressive breakdown that I was literally just telling you guys about. This style is a learned behavior that can wear down the recipient and force them to give in. So you kind of jump. So in the passive nature, you're kind of more accepting of like everything that the other states rather than, you know, being mindful of your own opinion. And then this can kind of lead to the passive aggressive freaking flow later within the relationship or within the communication standards within a guided workforce. In doing so, you kind of you'll be more reserved, you'll listen more to the other, but you'll kind of go from being like, you know, yes, and you know, your opinion is like extremely freaking your opinion is the best that we will freaking follow with no matter what, rather than voicing or freaking acknowledging your own opinion. And in doing so, you kind of become more reserved. You'll literally listen to everything, but you kind of won't be as active as you typically would be. You'll kind of feel defeated in most communication, in most moments when there is communication present. And in doing so, it kind of can lead to freaking aspects that leads you to walk away from a conversation again feeling reserved, you're feeling sad, you're feeling depressed. So rather than walking away from a conversation and there are moments when, you know, you can be passively aggressive and walk away from a conversation feeling mad. You literally like go into the conversation and you're just like, yeah, of course, yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. And then you like just kind of like sit there and you listen to everything, and then after you just kind of walk away and you're just like, what the? And it's like that's the mad freaking breakdown of walking away. The sad breakdown of walking away after is feeling as though you walked away after. You're just like, because you never get to freaking really truly voice how you feel. So there are a lot of different standards to the passive aggressive freaking flow. So always ensure that you are asserting your views, your opinions, and your stance within the conversation and the planning phases. And in doing so, always be open to the mindset of your partner, um, your coworkers, whoever you are working with, to communicate a guided plan, or just to literally just have a freaking like simple freaking like conversation of something that is just like, as simple as, talking sports teams. Be open to the other person's opinion. Don't freaking fight them because, you love this sports team and they love this sports team, and your sports team just, lost to their sports team, and it's like, now we're gonna fight, or my sports team just beat your sports team. Now let's freaking fight about it. Like, no, it's literally just the standard of being open to literally just enjoying every moment and being somebody that is open to voice your opinion also. Okay, so this one, it's like one of the most cray communication standards ever, guys. So we'll do like the brief like this one. You all know this one also. So it's the manipulative style. That style uses flattery, deceit, and influence to control the outcome of a conversation. Manipulative communicators may spread rumors or use underhanded tactics to get their way. And that one literally is like a breakdown into stuff that can literally just like provides the basis for manipulative communication styles. It's like one of those ones where you're like literally like you approach a situation and you kind of are being deceitful in doing so. Your mindset is like set towards being deceitful. Your mindset is set towards flattering someone to get your way. You want to influence a situation in the mindset of the other rather than working with them to kind of understand if you guys are on the same page. Um, you may spread freaking like rumors to literally set the basis for, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe that's freaking going on. I can't believe like all those rumors like over there and over there and over there just literally got you back to this point where I can literally get you to freaking understand my point of view now. And then it's like, aside from that, there are the underhanded tactics that you use along the way to like literally just kind of like knock the other person down a peg, to freaking knock the situation down a peg, to literally knock your team down a peg, to literally go, well, my way was pretty great. And then it's just it's a communication style that it's one to be reflected upon. And then in using this freaking style of communication, you have to be mindful that a lot of things can freaking backfire. You can piss a lot of freaking people off. So you have to be mindful of literally working towards being somebody that can find a common ground with people rather than manipulating them into seeing things your way. So, what is the best communication style in the workplace? And for this one was like a top freaking pick, and I was like, of course it's this one. And then when I went through like a bunch of other ones, it was still like this one. So I had to do some like further freaking research. So the next two freaking sections are going to literally cover this freaking communication style, and then we'll get back into the freaking basis of different communication styles. Assertive communicators may use hand gestures while communicating non-verbally, and they likely have calm or joyful facial expressions while speaking. People often view this as the most effective communication style in the workplace. So, in the manner in which you kind of represent yourself throughout conversations, you'll use like hand gestures to show like references. So, you're literally acknowledging people. If you're like literally talking about something that's like over there, you'll reference towards something over there. You'll like point towards in that direction. You give like thumbs up all the time. You'll literally kind of just like be like, you literally like how I literally speak like all the time, like moving and using my hands. It's kind of like a way in which you kind of you just kind of like you put your all into every conversation and flow, and you keep others focused upon what you were trying to tell them. So that way, and keeping yourself focused and utilizing your entire freaking flow throughout, it helps others stay focused and geared towards what you were trying to propose to them. And also your freaking demeanor will freaking set the standard for that kind of like energy and that flow that makes people feel enchanted while speaking with you. It'll make them literally just want to feel. It'll make them literally feel, and welcome and sharing a conversation with you. What is the most preferred communication style? And this is the part two for this one. Assertive communication is generally considered the most effective communication style because it's both emotionally honest and considerate of the other people's feelings. When it comes to sharing their thoughts and needs, assertive people are able to be direct, clear, and respectful to those who they are sharing a conversation with. Alright, so this is the next section where we go into the four horsemen. And this one covers like a bunch of freaking poor communication styles and the basis for how they typically affect others. Alright, you guys do like a brief time check. We're at the 20-minute mark, so we're doing pretty freaking great. This one's gonna be finishing like just a bit, and then I'm going to throw the story time in the middle of it, and then I'm going to touch base slightly upon cultural communication aspects. Renowned relationship expert John Gottman discovered 4 markers of relationship failure with 93% accuracy in predicting divorce, which are unhealthy communication styles, and he identified the 4 horsemen pertaining towards this subject. Known as the 4 horsemen, these are criticisms, contempt, defensiveness. So criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. All couples are likely to engage in these communication styles at some point. However, if consistently experienced, these counterproductive behaviors can have a very negative impact on your relationship. So be mindful of each of these because you've literally heard of each of them. And luckily, in creating this freaking breakdown, they provided examples to go with that are going to be great for literally setting a basis for understanding these communication styles and also understanding if you've ever used one of these. The first horseman is criticism. This is a first behavior typically used by couples in conflict. Criticism refers to attacking a partner's character or personality rather than the behavior itself. Criticism can make the receiver feel assaulted, rejected, and hurt. This makes it different from a complaint, so it's crucial to learn the difference. For example, a complaint. I feel frustrated when you don't help with the kids at bedtime. Criticism. You're so lazy and never think to help me. Solution. To get your message across, and we use I statements. Don't place blame upon the other person rather than pointing the finger at each other and literally creating that energy where you are both, number one, you're addressing that you are feeling, angry, you are feeling freaking, thrown off balance, you're feeling blindsided in the statement that was just made and the criticism that was literally just provided. Rather than doing so, address the situation or start the conversation off with, I feel as though so instead of going, I feel frustrated when you don't help with the kids at bedtime, it would be better to literally just go, I need your help with the kids at bedtime. You don't have to literally place blame upon the other person. You can literally just make a statement to the other person and then provide them with the facts of how you literally feel. That way they know that you are already thinking about the aspect of, requiring assistance during bedtime and that you need them to provide you with assistance during bedtime. If not, you're literally just going to start the conversation off with, I do this every freaking time. I literally never freaking ask you for any freaking help. I literally just get the job done. I go to work. Let's say I'll do like the ideal freaking like mom and dad, but both parents work kind of scenario and the kids are off to school already. Or so we'll do like a breakdown for that, and then I'll do like a freaking homeschool breakdown also. So I can do like 2 scenarios. Alright, so I freaking start each day off with waking the kids up, making sure that they freaking go through their daily routine, starting with breakfast. after, and then we are heading out the door. I drop the freaking kids off, then I head to freaking work. I meet up with you after, and then it's like it's time to freaking grab the kids, make sure that everything is freaking a-okay, and then you're freaking off to literally do. And then this is like, what I would like take out the freaking aspect of meeting up after. Let's say your partner gets off like a tad later and it's more towards bedtime, or should I say maybe like around like dinner time. That way there's that time for you to set the routine for the children, and then know that your partner has been able to wind down. You also needed to wind down after work, but you kind of have like gone through an entire freaking spiel of like, when I got home, I didn't have a chance to literally wind down. I literally got home and then I got right back to my second job, which is me being a parent. And when you got home, you got to literally like pop up and be like, the friend to our children. And then you got to literally wind down throughout the process. And I literally, and then this is where we get back to, and then I got home after, and then I freaking, had to pick the kids up from school. We had freaking errands. We had freaking, some of the kids were at sports practice. I still had to freaking do dinner. And then it's like, after I freaking did that, it's like, then it's like, we're doing family dinner. Everything is like freaking great. But then it's like, the kids need to freaking go and freaking, did you finish your homework? You were supposed to be working on it earlier. Double check mode before we freaking end the day. Go freaking finish anything that you were supposed to be working on. Go freaking do the dishes. Go help freaking clean, and then do your chores. Earn your freaking allowance. And then after that, it's like, get ready for bed. Go pick out your clothing for tomorrow. Go pick out your PJs for tonight. Go start taking your freaking showers if you have more than one kid. And then after that, it's like getting ready for bed. It's like you've got like freaking 30 more minutes of freaking video game time and TV time before it's time for lights out, and then getting ready for freaking sleep, getting ready to like literally just go to bed and call it a freaking night. And then it's like, in doing so, I'm working through this entire routine. There are a lot of parameters. It's like freaking, finish off any freaking other essentials, do your chores, prepare your outfit for tomorrow, pick out your freaking clothing for going to bed tonight, take your freaking bath, brush your teeth, go freaking like enjoy your final like 30 minutes to an hour before you officially have to go to bed. And then it's like getting the kids to bed, checking on them before you fall asleep. And it's like, at this point the kids are in bed, we've shut everything down, but it's like, I'm getting out of bed over and over to go check on the freaking kids and make sure they're actually going to sleep. And you're just in bed like, oh babe, it's been such a freaking long day. And then it's like, I feel like it's a chore. I feel like I'm checking on and managing children. I'm going to freaking work, and there's no personal me time in it. It's literally just work from the beginning of the day when I literally wake up to the end of the day. And even in the moments that I share with my partner, I feel as though I literally have to freaking like just be like that freaking added ear for you to literally have someone to communicate with, while I freaking still again have to literally work on managing the children. I want you to freaking be a part of this role, and I want you to literally play that aspect of being that other parent who can help me throughout the day. Every once in a while, pop up, do freaking breakfast, sit down with the kids, work with them on their homework that they didn't complete the night before, even though they were supposed to freaking work on it before going to bed. If they freaking pop up and they're like, all right, you guys, I was trying to work on my homework. I forgot to ask you guys last night, but before we freaking leave to like freaking go to school, while we're doing breakfast, can you help me with my freaking homework, mom or dad? And then in doing so, it's like, you set that basis for working with each other to literally find solutions for the children, to be active in their lives. After school, it's like, if you have the freaking day off, grab the freaking kids, spice up the freaking routine, save me from having to literally rush from work on a day that I work to literally go pick up the kids when you're freaking off that day. Although it may seem like it's my typical routine, with you having the free time within your schedule, that'll be a lot more freaking helpful than me literally jetting off from work to retrieve the children, while you still just kind of enjoy your freaking day. And it's like, we go through this every day where it's like you get home and you wind down, and it's like, I want to freaking know that I don't have to rush to freaking leave work some days. I want to know that when it's time for me to freaking clock out, you've already got the kids. I can literally just pop up. You're handling freaking our kids freaking practice pickups and all of the essentials, and you're helping with homework already. And by the time I get home, I literally have time to literally like pop up, literally give you a hug and a kiss, and then literally like start freaking working on dinner while you freaking manage everything that I typically would freaking work on. And then we get to meet up during dinner, And then you get to work with me on like literally setting the basis. Do you want to freaking enforce the freaking rules and the standards for what needs to be done while I manage them, or do you want to freaking manage them while I set the standard for what must be done? And then in doing so, it's like, with you helping out that freaking much, I can literally freaking, just freaking start the day off. I'm doing breakfast, you're helping the kids, you're talking with the kids, you're getting updates on what needs to be done, and we're freaking planning out, transportation plans. So, am I going to pick up the kids from this? Are you going to pick up the kids from this? What are going to be our set days? What are you going to be working on with the kids? When I get home later, should I freaking literally pop in and literally do like homework assistance? Do you have it today? And do you just add in that communication standard where it's like you're working to get that plan of what the children need, what you and your partner can share within. So basically, you set the standard for what you both can do. And in doing so, you kind of have to like sit downs with your partner sometimes. You kind of have to literally have like, a cute freaking call it like a casual at home freaking date night. Grab a freaking like glass of wine, or grab like a glass of wine and a bottle of bourbon and freaking kick back and relax. Grab a freaking glass of coffee or tea and kick back and like relax with them every once in a while. Maybe like on the freaking weekends, we like both share an off day and literally just talk like a guided plan with them. Do you want to do like practices? What works with your schedules? And then in freaking like finding what you want to talk to your partner about, plan ahead of time also. So it's like during your free moments, assess your schedules and find the moments in which you can literally work with your partner to kind of have a guided plan for execution overall. If you know that you both work like mornings into the evening and you're like kind of like leaving out around the same time, or that your partner's leaving out later than you are, and see if your partner leaves out later than you, then they kind of can like do the carpool flow in the morning while you kind of get everything ready in the morning, make sure that everything is okay, and then your partner is freaking ready to start the freaking day off, and then you kind of take over after, but you've already worked together to start the day together. You're checking on everything, you're freaking covering breakfast, you're dotting all the I's, and your partner crosses the T's. It's like a hand in hand kind of flow. And then later, when you guys freaking meet up after, it's like you're doing the freaking, since you left out early, you have the freaking time within your schedule to freaking like retrieve the kids or meet up with the kids after school, depending on how old they freaking are, or if you have like a freaking babysitter or a nanny, or if they freaking stay at school for extracurricular activities. And then when you guys meet up after, it's like, I'll be covering dinner while I'll be picking up the kids from freaking like practice, since you picked up our other kids from freaking school. Or if you're working on freaking doing dinner and freaking like cleaning and everything like that, I'll freaking retrieve the kids from school and freaking pick them up from freaking practice, and then it's like time for dinner after, and then you guys just get to go through the entire freaking flow of the day without feeling as though there's a burden placed upon any partner within the relationship. And then for the homeschooling aspect, it's literally working towards finding a guided freaking equilibrium plan. So you're working towards figuring out how you're going to communicate the standard of how you want your child to freaking live overall. Because your child isn't, there isn't that freaking aspect of the separation within the relationship. Your child is always going to be with one parent. And in doing so, you kind of have a guided plan. What are we going to do to freaking ensure that our child's 24 hours set within a day are utilized to the best of our possible freaking, utilized as best as possible. And what can we also do to ensure that we both play a freaking common grounded part throughout our child's life? And what are the aspects of our child's life that are the most crucial that we have to make sure that we focus upon making the best as possible? Communication standards include, nutritional plans, educational plans, transportation plans for freaking events such as play dates and co-parenting standards, as well as providing for freaking like needs, essentials, their growth and development stages from freaking age of birth to like freaking like 26ish. It's like typically like the freaking like official like cutoff. Like my kid is like officially done growing and like every freaking standard of the way. There should be no more like growth spurts. Like whatsoever. 21, I believe, was like a standard set for like a decent bed, but then they were like, you never truly know. So around like 25 to like 26. So in doing so, it's like you always have to plan for like, what will our child need? Our child's mind is continuing to develop, our child's freaking body is continuing to develop. They are becoming this new person with their own individual freaking sense of character every freaking day. And it's like we watched them grow from day one where they were that freaking person that always has that set mindset that it will be who they always are, but that mindset will also develop. They'll learn more throughout life, and in doing so, you kind of have to work with that and then work towards creating a standard for them that is conducive for their life. And then setting the communication standards with your partner is crucial, and working towards finding guided plans of execution literally just ties everything together. And it's kind of something where you have to work with being open-minded with each other, and in doing so you work towards understanding what each of you are bringing to the table, the standards of each, and how to approach situations with a grain of salt. And then in doing so, you also set a standard for your partner to reflect what you are bringing to the table and how you are bringing it to the table. And then when you both can kind of meet at that same point, you both literally create a standard that is conducive for proper communication standards. Alright, you guys, so we're going to continue with the first horseman because there's still like a tad bit before we get to the second horseman. Consider a gentle start and express a positive need. Say things like, I feel like I let's see. So that's the complaint started with I feel. So we'll do a different I feel statement. So as I stated before, kind of address that you need your partner and that you need their assistance rather than stating how you feel about their lack of assistance provided when you require it. So address that you need them. You can keep the I feel statement in there because you're addressing how you feel. So instead of going, I feel frustrated when you don't help with the kids at bedtime, literally just state, I feel as though I need your assistance with the kids at bedtime. Set that mindset into place it out into the atmosphere and work with your partner to create a guided plan in which you have the assistance required during bedtime, and you can both be all hands on deck and climb into bed together. Like, okay, I see what you freaking go through every night, and it is exhausting, and I can't do this with you every freaking night because it's required, and you do need my hand. So, like, work with each other. Let's see. Things like start statements with about. So that one's like a bit of a toughie. I feel like about may be added like throughout the freaking flow of the conversation or a sentence. So here's how I feel about the bedtime scheduling, and I feel as though I really require your assistance throughout this time period. Here's how I feel about our transportation plan. It's extremely unconducive for my freaking morning plan, and I really do need your assistance. I can literally start the morning off and get everything set in motion, but I do need your help with actually getting our kid to school. I do need your help with you actually getting our kid ready, and I will freaking handle the other essentials, and I will pick the freaking kid up. You guys have to work together and find a common ground and make sure that you guys aren't putting all the work required within the relationship on to one parent over the other. And in cases where there's a non-custodial and custodial parent, the overall role of raising the child will always be on the custodial parent. And in doing so, you have to work with your partner to set that common ground level for here are the things that you can do within our relationship to set a basis for how we can handle things and how we can work together. And then in doing so, we can work towards creating a more hands-on approach for you where you have a more active role that will not only be conducive in my freaking flow of literally being able to feel so I have a partner in this that can literally be my freaking right hand in freaking managing everything that's going on in this day-to-day freaking aspect of freaking raising a freaking child, a literal human being that is always constantly growing and developing. And you just set a basis for the future, and it's It's all about how you guys choose to communicate with one another, and remembering to not let anything affect you beyond your overall mindset. Take everything with a grain of salt and always be mindful that you may need to toss a tad bit of salt in the freaking cauldron and mix together a freaking masterpiece that you'll be able to utilize for your little freaking work of art. Statement such as I need. So, as stated before, I need your assistance with the children during bedtime. I need your assistance with the kids during bath time. I need you to literally pop in and make sure that everybody's actually like taking their baths. I like, instead of me freaking going, Jim Bob, I told you to freaking get in the bath an hour ago. I would rather you literally like pop up after I freaking tell all the kids to go take a freaking bath or a shower, and you literally like go and like kind of like do the flow. Like while I'm in the midst of cleaning and freaking making sure that everything is okay, and I'm like working with freaking Henrietta on freaking homework, I would love if you can go pop in on Jim Bob and go, like, or and I'll switch it that way. It's not like the typical cliche dad goes to pop in and like make sure the son's okay. While I'm working with Jim Bob on his homework, you pop in and check on Henrietta, and you go like, Henrietta, why haven't you taken a bath or a shower yet? And it's like, I just don't want to. And you get to gain the insight on how Henrietta feels about taking baths and showers. And then you get the chance to literally talk to her and explain to her the importance of proper freaking hygiene and why it's required. And it's like, we're not telling you to go take a bath or a shower because it's like, we're trying to be horrible people, but it's just something that you must freaking do. And in doing so, you create a freaking standard for yourself. You work with the routine that you're given, and then in doing so, it kind of becomes a part of your daily nature. Then it's like, it's something to be proud of later in the future, but you're overall working towards creating a standard for your child. And in the communication method, you get to literally work on communicating with this developing freaking human being, on explaining an aspect that you've already gotten the chance to understand in life, so you can kind of like relate to them. You can literally reference towards how when you were a kid you literally hated freaking taking baths and showers, and then you freaking learned to freaking love doing so. Say you freaking like stepped in freaking you stepped in like, let's see. Okay, so I live in Riverside, California. So we always have to freaking be mindful of like horse poop. So like, say you freaking like went out one day and then when me and a lot of other people like that live in California shared the aspect of walking around like bare feet when we were children. So say like you went out one day and you like stepped in like a freaking like pile of like dog poo, and you literally like ran home after, and you like literally were like, oh my gosh, it's so freaking nasty, oh my gosh, and then you had to like wash your feet, and then you went out to go play later, and then you freaking you were jumping around and playing with your friends, and then you were jumping in like a freaking pile of mud, and then you thought to yourself like, well, that's just mud, and then you had to clean your foot again, and then you were like, wait, didn't I just have to do the exact same thing with the dog poo? With the freaking horse poo? And then it just kind of like made you feel uncomfortable, and then you were like covered in the mud though, and your parents were like, your parents didn't even say anything. Your parents were like literally in the midst of like freaking like doing something. They were like, just like, working on dinner, and the other parent was like freaking working on a freaking work proposal, and then you were just kind of just like in the freaking bathroom, like, should I freaking just take a bath? Like, should I freaking set this notion for myself? Or should I just kind of like track mud all through the house? And then you made that mindful freaking decision to literally just take a freaking bath. It's not that hard. I'm freaking like covered in freaking mud. I look freaking disgusting. I literally stepped in like horse poop a few freaking hours ago. I'm not even sure like how clean my freaking feet are. I'm just gonna like take a bath. And that's what kind of like helped me to be this person that I am today, where I'm like, I love baths and showers, and you should too. And you kind of just, you set a standard. You have to work with each other to find like guided plans. And in doing so, you get those bonding moments between you and your partner, and you and your children. Yes, so I've got my water this time, and this one is probably going to be around like an hour and 30 minutes, because we're already at the 43-minute mark, and I'm literally nearly at the second horseman of 4. While criticism doesn't mean the end of your relationship, if it becomes a baseline for how you communicate, it can pave the way for more intense and challenging communication patterns, and these can result in contentment within your relationship. Contempt And then the second horseman is contempt. Contempt is a passive aggressive behavior when you show blatant disrespect for your partner. You assume, and I'm gonna read through the rest of these that way I don't have to give you like you guys like a full on freaking like mega breakdown for each of them because it's gonna like literally set this to be a 2 hour video and I literally don't want to freaking like have you guys like caught within the midst of this like freaking breakdown for like 2 hours. So I'm going to try to max it around like 1 hour and 30 minutes. And if there's more to add to it, I'll probably do like a brief like 30-minute video to like follow up and add more information. But I'm working to keep this one up under 2 hours. You assume a position of moral superiority over them. This may include sarcasm, name calling, eye rolling, mockery, or ridicule. The receiver can feel despised and worthless as a result. So you kind of create that toxic environment for your partner, which kind of leads towards the downfall in a lot of relationships. This behavior is recognized as the single greatest predictor of divorce, so it needs to be eliminated ASAP. The solution, according to the Goodman Institute, the antidote to contempt is building a culture of appreciation and respect in your relationship. One of Goodman's mottos is small things often. By regularly expressing appreciation, gratitude, affection, and respect for your partner, you'll create a positive perspective in your relationship that acts as a buffer for negative feelings. The more positive you feel towards your relationship, the less likely you'll feel or express contempt. Aim for the 5-to-1 magic ratio. In other words, five or more positive interactions for every one negative interaction. By making regular deposits into your emotional bank account, you're more likely to keep your relationship in the green. For example, contempt. You forgot to take the clothes off the line when you get home from work. Ugh. You were so incredibly lazy. Okay, yeah, wait. All right, let me reread this one because I was like, there are the freaking quotation marks, and I was like, I'm pretty sure when I initially read this one, it was like a literal statement. So, you forgot to take the clothes off the line when you got home from work. You are so incredibly lazy. And then you like add like the eye roll freaking flow. And that's like the solution for this. Oh, and then also for a lot of these, you guys, you can literally, in order to help your partner really get what the sense of like how your communication flow goes, like you can also do role playing with them, like outside of the freaking bedroom, and literally practice doing these communication standards with them, so you can get them to understand the negative communication flows that often take place within your communication standards, and how to work on incorporating positive communication standards into your daily flow. So, the solution. I understand you've had a lot. Oh gosh, okay. I understand you've had a lot on at work lately, but could you please remember to take them off the line when I'm home late? I'd really appreciate it. So, really just kind of acknowledge the other person, acknowledge your partner, and acknowledge that you need their assistance. It's like one of the most crucial aspects to literally ensure that you guys are creating that sense of, that like that need for each other, that want for each other, that freaking level of, if you can't do it yourself, be mindful that you have a partner for a reason. The solution above is a great example of how you can turn. Okay, so in this case, when you're not reading it, the solution I just stated is a great example of how you can turn a contemptuous statement into a respectful request, followed by a note of appreciation. See, I told you guys, you're gonna have to add in that freaking appreciation, that value of your partner, and really just show that you need them, you love them, and that there are the moments when you have to kind of just you guys have to show the gratitude towards each other and show that there is that semblance of that need, and show that you guys are both valued in the relationship, and just work together, the cute stuff. The third horseman is defensiveness. Defensiveness behavior is typically a response to criticism. When you feel attacked and unjustly accused, it's natural to defend yourself until your partner backs off from their argument. However, by defending yourself or making excuses, you avoid any responsibility in understanding what your partner is trying to say. This form of self protection is another way of saying the problem isn't me, it's you. And you never want to do that. Unfortunately, this means the problem is left unresolved and conflict usually escalates. So you literally just want to minimize that by like any means necessary. The solution: respond to criticism by expressing an acceptance of responsibility or admission of fault, even if only for part of the conflict. Try and deepen your understanding of your partner's perception. So really work towards understanding how your partner feels and remedies for creating a more stable environment where your partner's mindsets, the needs of your partner, just every other crucial aspect is identified, addressed, and approached with, again, a grain of salt. Solution: respond to criticism by expressing an acceptance of responsibility, of permission of fault. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't read through that again. Like some of the freaking information is like restated in that one. Wait, no. Oh, I did just read that one. Okay, okay. Example: I'm sorry for not helping with the kids tonight. I had a big day at work. Was feeling very tired, but I promise I'll help tomorrow. So when acknowledge how you felt. Acknowledge that you freaking skipped out on your daily freaking routine, and acknowledge that you had a plan also. That you literally were just like, I was gonna be like all hands on deck and be like typical dad mode today, but work really freaking got me. Like I literally had to do so much freaking work. I had to freaking think a lot, and now I'm like mentally drained. I had to freaking do a bunch of freaking like heavy freaking lifting. Now I'm like physically drained. I literally had to talk to a bunch of people, and now I'm like freaking socially, mentally, emotionally, and like freaking physically drained. I was like literally walking all over the place, talking to people, networking, and mentally I'm just like freaking like I'm just like drained completely. And then there's so much more to freaking do after that. My freaking mind is literally like nap for a bit and then try that again like later, like kind of flows. So just acknowledge that and literally make sure that you and your partner are on the same page, so they don't feel as though you're literally just gonna like start a new freaking flow of not helping them out in situations as such, and instead state, I am like, okay guys, I've been like doing these without freaking like adding like any freaking lip balm or freaking chapstick before, and I've been doing great. But that one literally just got me. Okay, what's that? My tongue is like freaking super dry too. It's horrible. Alright. So work with your partner to keep them informed of how you may feel and as to why you were kind of not able to fulfill your typical obligations that you always being incorporated into your daily routines. That way you guys are both informed, and that way there's no resentment after. And it's not something that they'll add to the list of like, well, there have been a lot of moments when you just kind of just come home from work and you're just completely like, kept to yourself and reserved, and then you literally just kind of leave me to freaking handle everything. And it's like, no, when I have days like that, and then you have to state it during that time period. You don't want to state it during an argument. You don't want it to be a basis that literally led to resentment. You literally want it to be something that your partner understands, so that way you don't have to worry about future arguments. A relationship, it doesn't have to be built upon arguments. A relationship is built upon communication, and a lot of people kind of, throw in, well, if there are no arguments in a relationship, is it truly a relationship? Well, having aggressive conversations is a form of communication. So if you're setting your entire relationship to be based upon, waiting for the next aggressive conversation, you have to really be mindful that, you can communicate, but you don't have to literally fight with each other. You don't have to freaking set your basis to be upon aggressive communication styles. Work towards having assertive conversations with your partner in which you guys are reflecting with each other and working to understand the goals and always finding a common ground. Because resentment isn't healthy. Conflict isn't healthy. Manipulation isn't freaking healthy. Finger pointing isn't freaking healthy, so work with your partner to avoid all of the freaking conflict and remove the aggressive flow from your relationship flow. Because although you may think it's ideal to freaking argue with your partner because you see it in everything, look at how many things you've ever seen in your life. Look at how many TV shows, how many freaking real life events. Reflect upon your like parents' relationships and your friends' relationships, and then really kind of like think to yourself, was the toxicity and the aggressive communication standard that is like so ideal for every relationship healthy, and did it help their relationship or did it tear them apart? And then in understanding that mindset, you can kind of work towards like, not setting that as a basis of what's required within your relationship, and work towards, creating a more stable communication flow with your partner. The fourth horseman, stonewalling. Stonewalling is the last horseman, and research shows it's the most demanding behavior to be engaged in, typically in response to contempt. Stonewalling occurs when one feels emotionally overwhelmed and withdraws from the interaction, shuts down, and simply stops responding to the other. So you're kind of just in like full on reserve mode. I don't want to go through this. I'm already like, feeling emotional. I had something going on prior to this, and this is literally just the icing on top of the freaking cake. And you kind of just want to like full on just go like, I can't do this, and then they kind of just want to go like, you know, that if you address it, they'll kind of like come for you and like come with the like aggressive flow where it's like, no, well, we're doing this now. And it's like, I can't. I literally feel as though I am like emotionally drained right now. Mentally, I literally just, I don't want to freaking go through this right now. Like, I don't want to freaking think about this entire freaking breakdown of like BS that we go through all the time during our freaking aggressive communication freaking flows. And I would really just rather just freaking let you just like speak at this moment. And this is when you introduce the passive flow, where you're literally just listening to everything. And then for a lot of people during winter snowball and freaking phase, they literally are just like yes to like everything, and then they kind of have to like be reminded later when they're feeling more so as themselves that they said yes to a lot of things that they shouldn't have said yes to. And then it's like it goes from the freaking like passive to like passive aggressive with the resentment because you got me into this, and then it goes back to the aggressive flow overall. And then it's like the toxicity set within motion that led to the stonewalling and the passive flow will lead to the passive aggressive nature later, which will then lead to the aggressive nature, creating that entire new flow within your relationship that could have been avoided if you had both worked towards understanding the cues that you were both showing, and then also working towards understanding each other's needs, the feelings of the other, identifying what you guys could work on, and setting a standard for working to still like understand and be mindful of what your partner may freaking need, require, be stating what you require, may need, require, or what is being stated, so that you can still find a freaking common ground within the situation. So always be mindful. Let's see. Oh, we're nearly at the end of this breakdown. Then we're going to do the story time, and then we'll touch base on cultural aspects. So we're at 57 minutes. I'm guessing we should definitely be able to finish this up by like an hour and 30 minutes. I think the story is only going to take like maybe like 10 minutes or so, maybe less. I think I did like 3 paragraphs or so, so definitely maybe less with any luck. Learning to recognize when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed is crucial in the prevention of stonewalling. It takes time for the negativity created by the first 3 horsemen to become overwhelming enough to lead to stonewalling, but this means conflict is left unresolved. Solution is stated as: if you feel like you're emotionally overwhelmed and you find yourself stonewalling during a conflict, stop the discussion and ask your partner to take a breath. Use this time to self-soothe by reading, going for a walk, or listening to music. It doesn't matter what you choose to do, but it's best to avoid going over what has happened in your mind and maintain your focus on distracting and calming yourself. So don't freaking literally like replay the situation and what freaking made you mad over and over again. My mom just freaking texted me about my freaking cat Milo in the backyard. He was like hiding in the bushes yesterday, and I sent her a voicemail. I was like, okay, so the day before yesterday, or like yesterday freaking like morning-ish or so, he was like sitting in the freaking, he was like sitting by my freaking back door waiting for me to pop out with some food. So he was like sitting like a literal person. I'm like trying to show you guys, but the camera's like super high up. But he was like, okay, so basically just like sitting back like this, and then he had his like legs forward, like he was like a literal freaking person. And when I was like getting my phone ready to take a picture so I can send it to my mom, he freaking moved in the midst of it. So I was like, that was like the perfect freaking picture moment of this dude literally doing some like human stuff that is like that freaking candid like cat moment of them just doing something that's so out of the ordinary that it's freaking like comical. And then I freaking like was like in the midst of doing a smoke break yesterday, and then I think I was like heading out or I was like on my way freaking back, but I peeped over to see what Milo was doing because I threw him like a freaking like chicken bone before. No, I threw him like a freaking like literal like entire like chicken drumstick, and he like went like full on like Animal Kingdom on it. But he was like sitting in the freaking bushes, just like freaking like perched over and then just like looking at me like this in the background. I was like, Milo, what are you freaking even doing? Like you always do some like out of the ordinary freaking stuff, and it's always just so freaking adorable. But I sent it to my mom, and she literally like was like, "That's freaking so creepy," and I'm like, "That's literally what I was saying." I was like, "Milo, what are you freaking even doing?" But then when he was sitting upright, I feel like that literally was just like the most funny freaking moment ever. I was like, "You literally look like you're just like full." He was like paws in his freaking like lap. Like here, hold on. Like paws in his freaking like lap, like the sitting forward with his legs like placed in front of him. I just picture like this freaking kid doing this. It was just so freaking cute. Alright. Let's finish with this breakdown and get to the story segment. After taking some time to calm down, return to the conversation when you're ready. Oh, and then I also have to like pop in for a brief bit. One of my freaking coworkers who just started working with our company just messaged me. And I have to see if she's like texting me about something cute or if she's texting me for advice. So one sec, guys. I'm gonna like check the notification and then just keep the video playing. Helping you on this. Oh, cool. It's freaking a sun. It was freaking like event in my area. It is important to understand. Oh wait, let me see. Did I get through that entire thing? It is important to understand that when you're emotionally overwhelmed / charged, we are less able to have a rational conversation and more likely to explode or bottle up our emotions. Further, therefore, learning how to self-soothe is. Oh gosh. Alright, you guys. I got an hour like the rest without literally like I felt like dry tongue. Therefore, learning how to self-soothe is vital for a healthy relationship. Some of the characteristics of healthy communication in adult relationships include active listening, giving your full attention and responding appropriately, maintaining a conversational tone, keeping body language respectful, engaged, and open, being willing to acknowledge when you have been wrong. So, acknowledge when you've done something wrong. Don't blame it on your partner. That's going to lead to toxicity within your relationship. Making I statements instead of assigning blame. So accept you are at fault or acknowledge that you have like needs that require assistance. Make eye contact. It's like always crucial, and it's gonna number one. It's gonna like keep it like sexy within your relationship. You know, you look at your partner. Don't freaking acknowledge that you've had like resentment. You have something on your mind that's like something that's gonna make somebody wonder like, why are you not making eye contact? Like, you know, what do you have going on that's so freaking horrible that I need to freaking wonder why you were avoiding making eye contact with me? Look me in the freaking eye, and you know, have that freaking semblance of that non-guilt factor. And it's crucial. It literally helps the other person feel as though you are being mindful throughout the conversation and that you are truly working to understand their perspective also. Using appropriate language for the situation. So try to avoid like cursing at each other and freaking like literally popping off over like any freaking thing that may take place. You know, just be mindful and, you know, don't freaking set to don't set yourself up to sabotage your own relationship when you feel as though you can't survive without your partner. Have a willingness to compromise. Always work towards compromise, you guys. You're working to find solutions together, meaning you're working to find that common ground and that compromise point in every situation. And it's going to be something that you handle from the beginning of your relationship to the end of your relationship, and oftentimes beyond, as well as from the moment that your child is born up until the end of your lives, because you will always be parents. So be mindful of that. Giving positive feedback and showing appreciation. Give positive feedback. Don't always set yourself out to literally bring your partner down and then go, but I really need them. I really want them because they were that positive aspect of my life. You were supposed to be their positive aspect in their life. That's what literally geared you to kind of fall for each other. You guys worked your freaking charms and your freaking like magic on each other. And now it's like, you're like kind of like being that negative aspect in my life, that toxic freaking aspect that I have to remove from my life. And then you're kind of like, well, I still love you. And it's like, no, crazy. You were freaking horrible. Why the hell would I still freaking want you? Just because you want me doesn't mean that I want the toxicity in my life. And it's like, you have to work towards, being that positive aspect in your partner's life, and then show appreciation for each other. It's like literally crucial. Literally show that you appreciate all the things that your partner does for you. And in doing so, your partner will be able to reflect by showing the appreciation for everything that you do for them. And it sets the basis for that freaking need factor, that freaking factor of, loving what you guys bring to the table for each other. Avoiding universal statements like you always, I never. So like you always do this, and I have never had a freaking moment where I've ever been able to come home and just enjoy the freaking peace of my freaking life, because you always literally just freaking are just completely oblivious to everything. You take no part in any of our daily freaking events, and you were just kind of just like a fly on the freaking wall while I'm literally working my freaking butt off to like handle everything. Don't do that. Literally work with your partner to address these things in a calm manner, and then find a common ground and get them to be more active before you place blame upon them, because you are being passively aggressive. You can't be passively aggressive towards your partner when you have never addressed any type of solution that could have been incorporated to work towards making you feel less so as though you would have to resent your partner because they are less active, when they feel as though you were literally gonna like one man freaking like super freaking squat it all by yourself. Tell them, no, I'm not gonna be like the freaking only superhero in this relationship. Get off your freaking butt and literally be my freaking partner in this. And in doing so, create a freaking guided plan. Using good communication skills is productive. You will solve more relationship problems, parent more effectively, be a better friend to your partner, and have greater success at work by practicing and recognizing healthy communication from others. And that concludes the notes section pertaining towards like literally every type of situation, communication flows, at work, overly, like majorly in relationships as requested for this video, and in day-to-day rigging conversations and flows, and with rigging raising children, communication is crucial between you and your partner. So always work towards having positive communication standards. And okay, for the story time and for the presentation breakdown, they're both going to be pertaining towards communication in the workplace. And you can also apply these to typical real world situations outside of work also. So without further ado, I'm gonna take like a sip of this and hopefully be able to conclude this video without losing my voice for the next few days. If so, my freaking video for like tomorrow, it's gonna be like, that me like this, like I do in like every video where I've lost my voice. So be mindful. It might be horrible. Okay, so this is my summative assessment covering conflict resolution reporting, and I literally chose like this freaking like story, but I kind of like made it a tad more story based rather than completely like reflecting it upon like the actual event that took place. And I also needed it to like fit the freaking requirements of the assignment. Alright, so you guys, it's a basis of an argument that took place the reactions of others, the communication standards, the freaking things stated by a bunch of the parties involved, and the resolution standards and used to conclude the situation in a proper way that follow the standards of workplace protocols. As an argument erupts within the workplace, several members of the organization joined to watch and take part. Many were confused as to why Shablanka and Svetlana began arguing. However, it was assumed that the cause was due to the unvoiced complaints within the workplace. Shablanka was known as being aggressive and manipulative in matters in which her actions were commended upon. The critique of Svetlana was brought forth due to the concerns of the tone in which Shablanka took towards several children in private. The threats stated towards children in a manner which many were abused behind the scenes. Svetlana confronted Shablanka after the workday's conclusionary point to address the abuse of a child during the midpoint of the workday. Due to many being fatigued, busy, and as some would say, simply absent-minded, a child was removed from the workplace and taken into the office of Shablanka. Svetlana overheard Shablanka shouting to the child to shut the up, and within a few brief moments of a continuous crying of the the little like hiccups in there that literally just alter the way the story can be told. Within a few brief moments of the child's continuous crying, in which could have nearly drowned out Shablanka's threatening tone, she then proceeded to strike the child several times. There was a brief moment when it sounded as though a lunge was made towards the 1.5-year-old toddler. As she attempted to shake the baby to cause it to hush, Svetlana then knocked on the door to show Shablanka the baby's cries had gone noticed, as well as the aggressive tactics used to shush the child. Oh my gosh, my shush turned into just. Used to shush the child. Svetlana confronted Shablanka during the closing period and insisted that less abusive tactics be enforced as stated by the guideline to pacify the cries of the child rather than to attempt to manipulate the child using threats such as "I will beat, yell, and I will call your parents right now and tell them you are doing implied embellishment," or by means of aggression by way of tone or assaulting the literal child. So, as spectators began to rally to catch a glimpse of the heated argument, the situation began to take a drastic turn. Shablanka began to manipulate the nature of the event and was abruptly silenced by Svetlana. Shablanka stated, I ain't never done nothing like that before. So what you can do is, instead of lying on me, what you need to do is focus on how you need to discipline these kids. Svetlana replied, disciplining these children goes against my belief in the values in which we insist must be reflected towards the children, as well as the guidelines, rules, and regulations of which protect the rights of our clients from harm. Shablanka, caught in a manipulative standpoint, then chose to take a different road and instead listened to the mediation of the facility owner, who began to approach the scene. Dasha then proceeded to question each, asking, what started the argument? How long has this been going on? Why would you expect this to be acceptable behavior to exhibit within the workplace? As the situation was re-examined and the questions answered, Dasha then began the process of picking the most reflective solution method of care to proceed and conclude the argument. The compromising method was chosen as it works to mediate the concerns of both parties within an argument, whilst also acknowledging each party member involved. This conflict resolution style can be found right in the middle of the chart, and it focuses on finding a solution that at least partially satisfies both sides. Everyone wants to be right, but each side has to let go a little. This style is useful when the topic. Oh my freaking god! We're waiting for. That's my buddy. He like literally calls me all the time, and I always miss his calls. Hi, Abdul. Oh gosh. Hello. Anyway, one sec, guys. Alright. This style is useful when the topic is moderately important to you and both sides share a similar level of influence. You can achieve an agreement that somewhat satisfies you within a relatively short amount of time. Brain Hub 5 conflict resolution models. Compromising. Shablanka was granted a meeting to decide how the situation should be handled and to address the importance of the compliance of procedures regarding the fair treatment of children within the workplace. As a mediator, Dasha was able to allow each to compromise on how to address misunderstandings amongst fellow colleagues in the future. Each voiced their stance on the proper treatment of children, and Dasha assisted in referencing towards guidelines and procedures of proper care. Shubhanga felt more informed and apologized for her unfair treatment towards the child, as well as for her response to Svetlana's discomfort regarding the abuse of children within the workplace. The handling of the situation was just and helped each member feel as though their stance could be voiced and the importance of the proper treatment of children outlined. To remedy the disagreement, Shablanka was granted a final meeting on one of which was set to reflect the standards of a hearing. As Shablanka's case was given proper review as well as assessments and statements collected from other providers. I believe it's other providers. That others provided. Let's see. The collective of information provided pertaining to Shablanka's aggressive nature towards children assisted in the final decision to grant her dismissal. Svetlana and Shablanka parted on well terms, and the information provided helped Shablanka to later control her aggressive tendencies within the workplace and become a business owner of her own within the educational field as an advocate, resource provider, and educational instructor for adults. Thanks to the resolution found, a career assistance shift was provided to Svetlana, and the two now work together towards. Oh gosh, wait 1 second. Abdul. Hi. What are you doing? I'm like in the middle of making a video. Okay, I'll call me in a view, okay? Okay. Okay, so the two now work together towards training educators as well as how to provide the best care for the youth. I was gonna add as well as in this portion outside of me adding it into my casual flow of communication as well. Okay, so as well as the necessary resources required to assist families and provide the care needed to those who fall within the parameters of age birth through 10. Those who often require more attention, affection, and require access to necessary essentials such as toys, clothing, food, and nutritional supplements. Okay, guys, so we are at 1 hour and 18 minutes, and the next portion we're going to literally cover the cultural aspects of the workplace, and then we're going to conclude it like right after. That way we can still get this done in less than 1 hour and 30 minutes. So culture within the workplace, and I literally had to do like 4 bullet points, and each bullet point had to include less than 4 words. It was like surprisingly enough one of the hardest assignments I've ever worked on because I always make like either my freaking slides are extremely freaking wordy and like contain like a bunch of freaking info, or my freaking like speaker notes, if they're required for each slide, they can get like pretty freaking wordy at times. I always want to make sure like they're like up to par. So in doing so, I was like, I've never had to do an assignment where it's like I can only literally do like 4 words and 4 bullet points. It was freaking tedious, but I got a great grade on it. I was so happy after. Understanding different cultural backgrounds, encourage. Oh wait, you know what, you guys? I did a freaking voiceover for each of these, where I literally explained most of it. Wait one sec. Hello. Hi, cutie. I was like, what the freaking heck? You were being like super freaking extra. And I was like, I know you did not just like freaking get an attitude with me. No freaking way. Oh my gosh. Oh. Not too shocked. I'm like in the middle of working on a video. No. I'm literally working on a YouTube video for my legal aid division. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Ew. No. Oh gosh. Probably freaking not. Oh gosh. Really? Oh, yeah. Okay. Love you too. Bye. Okay, let's see if I can get the freaking audio to play through for this. Understanding different cultural backgrounds, encouraging unity, and striving for inclusivity helps to ensure that within the workplace all are accepted and represented, and that cultural stances are incorporated into the basis of how employees are to respect both the consumers and their fellow employees. And in doing so, this helps to work in minimizing conflicts within the workplace. Oh wait, okay, so then this one is going to cover cultural conflict resolution methods. Resolution methods include eliminating cultural biases within the workplace, allowing mediation within conflicts to help with finding a common ground for each party, also incorporating different approach methods that can be found throughout the world, and in doing so would help to find a common ground for approaches to finding solutions to conflicts that can often take place within the workplace due to different cultural beliefs and biases. Emphasizing cultural acceptance also teaches all within the workplace to understand and ensure that there is representation of all shown throughout each daily set workday and throughout each set of activities. Okay, and then this one is the cultural conflict resolution methods part 2 section. And then I'll lightly like play my breaking audio feed for cultural training aspects also, so you can understand the importance of cultural training within the workplace to ensure that people adhere to the ideal representation of the company, the brand, and overall the stance in which we share in creating an ethically versus equal opportunity based environment as it is required, number one, by law, and number two, it's just something that should always be done. Treat others the way you wish to be treated, and in doing so you create a safe environment for all. Fostering effective communication helps to ensure that those that are parties within a conflict are able to convey their message without being set within a conflict that has no solution. And in most cases where that takes place, it can also lead to further deliberation, hearings, and situations in which those may actually lose their jobs. Fostering a respectful environment helps to ensure that all employees are aware of the cultural stances that should be preserved for each employee within the workplace. Encouraging collaboration and team building ensures that all workers are geared with the mindset to work with others, and also it helps to form a bond and ensure that the cultural biases are held at a standpoint as it's set to hinder a project and often can set a different set of goals and values for each participating member. Establishing conflict resolution channels helps with allowing each to voice a stance upon a conflict, and in doing so, it allows for the mediation to be set in place and for a common solution to be enforced. And here's cultural training part 1. Has a lot of crucial components that help to ensure that the parameters of what's required is enforced. Working to ensure that there is a conflict resolution set up trainings to ensure that in cultural conflict situations, employees are prepared for the proper means of addressing said issues, as well as identifying the training needs and goals and making a guided plan. It's best to address each team member and ask what cultural means of representation would they like to be incorporated within the guided plan. Hiring qualified trainers that have experience in handling such situations also helps to eliminate the biases and step beyond the limited mindsets of what should be incorporated into the training exercises. Identifying and addressing barriers such as language and culture will also help others to be more mindful of the constraints that those face, such as people who speak English as a second language and those who incorporate their culture into their daily life. Okay, and cultural training part 2. Conducting intercultural training will allow for the understanding of cultural stances, beliefs, and daily practices of others within the workplace. This can also help in reevaluating and improving the organization structure, hiring practices, and cultural stances such as acceptance of headwear and religious times such as prayer, meditation, and the necessary family components such as parents who breastfeed within the workplace in settings such as daycares, and exercises that tend to help with cultural training include role playing, understanding what it would be like to represent somebody from a different culture, and then it also helps to identify biases and also identify what points others, let's see, will focus upon while representing another country that can be worked upon to eliminate conflicts that may arise from the biases shown. Simulations and case studies have also been shown to help many in understanding how the conflicts are, can often actually take place, and as to how the conflicts are typically resolved. I mean, typically when I do freaking any assignments such as that, when I do the freaking voiceover freaking speaker notes and opposed to freaking typing them out, they're a tad more or less as though me waking up from a nap. I literally finished that one right after freaking nap. I like finished comprising all the information for the slides, and then I just put together the last final snippet, and then aside from that I freaking plugged in the sources, and doing so with it being the final freaking little like brief portions of it, I literally I decided to do the voiceover for each of them, and I did notice until actually listening to myself and recordings of those that I was literally like, I was a lot less bubbly than usual, and literally just like I just sound freaking like I was exhausted and reading through it and literally just trying to like explain as much information as I could from the 3 words that were stated on the slide. 3 to 4 words that were stated for like each bullet point, and I literally was just like, based off of what I know, what I freaking read, and plugging this in to make sure that there's an effective freaking plan and guided freaking breakdown for each. I literally just like worded the freaking heck out of it and provided as much information as I could for each. I was not expecting each freaking let's see, we've got, so there's like, let's say 4x4, there are like 12 freaking words aside from if sources are cited on each freaking slide, taking out the freaking title also. So with the 12 freaking words that are stated on each freaking slide, I was able to create a freaking like 2-minute voiceover to explain each freaking point, and it's a bit I kind of overdid it for that after nap flow, but I really do not like literally ever leave anything up to chance. I have been working to literally keep my straight A freaking flow, so I believe I definitely did it for that one. Alright, you guys, so that's going to be the end of this video. I'm so like thankful that each of you like tuned in again. I am hoping that any of these breakdowns can help you guys with communication standards within the workplace, within your relationship, with understanding cultural breaking aspects of others and learning to be more accepting, and in turn having others be more accepting of your different cultural stances, your different cultural beliefs, and in working towards creating a more unified and diverse workforce throughout our freaking nation and throughout the world in turn. And also, don't forget to go check out our socials. So find us on Instagram, DKHLegalAid, X, DKHLegalAid, TikTok, DKH.LegalAid, and stay up to date on any freaking updates. Check out freaking video snippets. You can go follow us on our social media platforms. Also for the DKH Fashion headquarters, DKH Fashion on freaking Instagram, DKH Fashion HQ for our main freaking like mega account. DKH Fashion on X, and DKH Fashion on TikTok, or maybe DKH Fashion HQ, but you can stay up to date on all of our fashion updates, and then you can also follow the links here to find my main account, so you can literally check out my social media where I literally like connect them all through like the major freaking hubs and literally provide information for like everything on each. Just stay up to date on everything. I will talk to you guys later. I love you so much, and thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to check out the website and book us if you need any assistance with a legal consultation, educational resources such as literacy, proficiency, learning the English language, so many more freaking super fun aspects. I'm literally gonna like freaking chillax, relax for a bit, and then debate what I literally want to do for like the freaking rest of the day. Check and see if there are any essentials that I've literally forgot to check off the freaking list so far. Love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later.